Hi, everybody. Welcome to our 15th episode of the Unwrapped Leader, where we get raw, real, and relevant with the new network marketing on how you can become a gifted leader in your business. Today, my name is Dracy Dewar, all the way from Australia.
And I'm Teisha Dorianna from Canada.
Yay! It's so fun doing these episodes and trying to remember how to actually do the openings. But we did promise to be raw, real, and relevant. And so I guess this is us being raw, real, and relevant. But anyway, today's episode, we're absolutely delighted to have a guest speaker. She is a fierce female that has fired up many people in the industry for the last 40 years. Our very own Melanie Hayden. Melanie Hayden is much like herself, started in the industry at a very young age. I believe she was like in her early 20s, and she was a single mom with 2 kids. And she has risen in the industry to be the fastest, the highest level of leadership in her day. And you're going to hear a little bit more about her. But then she went into the corporate side and kept evolving. She went in from being a sales director in an industry to being a president of the company. She now is a business and marketing strategist, and she is still continuing to lighting people's up. She was even on the board of the Direct Sellers Association. So Melanie comes with loads of experience. She comes from the heart, and she most importantly looks after us like we are one of her own. So I am delighted to introduce to everybody Melanie Hayden. Well, everybody, I am absolutely delighted to be here with my good friend and good mentor and I like to call her our godmother. And I remember way back when we first came together, Melanie, I was very new in the industry. I believe I was only 27 years old. So I was like 3 or 4 years in, doing my personal best in with Party Light. I had just pretty much, I think I was just getting married, or it was just before I was getting married, but I was pretty much a single mom. And I know when you came into my picture as being the president of Party Light, 36 years old or 37 years old. It's like the youngest president in Party Light, or probably in the industry. And I just remember being in such awe and wow, like this woman was a single mom with 2 kids in Mary Kay, and you went out there to become like the president of a company. I'm just like, wow, there's a career in this. Because when I first got started, I looked at this business, oh, well, I'll do it for however long it's a trend, or however long that, it's fun. And I was thinking I maybe had a 5-year cap in my career as being a professional network marketer. But you gave people hope and belief that there was an actual profession in this. And you took us on, not only, I can't say a mother because we're still really close in age, but like a big sister. And you actually put your arms around me. You protected me. And maybe sometimes there was things that you had said that I didn't necessarily like, but I trusted you always, that you had my back. And look at this now, 25, almost 30 years later, Melanie. Look at, we're still in the industry. We're still changing lives. And now I feel absolutely gifted that you are one of our gifted leaders that said yes to do our book review and come and share on Teisha and I's podcast a little bit about you and yourself and the difference you're making. So welcome, Melanie.
Oh, so excited to be here. I'm just so honored to be a part of this wonderful journey you 2 are on, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Well, you're definitely part of that inspiration.
Yeah, welcome. We're so excited to have you here and can't wait to hear more about your story and pick your brain a bit.
Yeah. So Melanie, tell us when you got started and what's your journey been like, and what's been the highs and the lows that you'd love to share for us.
You know what? I think my story is you got to walk the talk in this business, right? And so I think you as a leader don't have the right to expect anything from anybody else that you're not prepared to do yourself. And so I think when I look back at my story, it just unfolded with a great deal of faith and hope and a whole lot of not knowing and finding leaders that you can trust and just following their footsteps. And so, Dracy, when you share how we met and our story of our relationship, I think that's really the bedrock of my whole story. I got married at 18. I was a mother by the time I was 20, and all I wanted was the best in the world for my child, and was, never got more than a high school diploma. And it's part of what I love most about this industry is where else are you going to get the opportunity without a university degree to make millions of dollars, to become the president of a company, and just have people believe in you. This is the only business that I know of where you cannot be discriminated against. No one cares if you're male, female, what color your skin is, what religion you are, political affiliations, nothing. No one cares. I've seen people walk the talk and do this business and go to the top. And so I fight hard for this industry. And I've been on the board of directors with the Direct Sellers Association because I believe this is the industry of hope. And if you're prepared to come in and learn, as I was, came in, knew nothing. The reason I joined was because my husband told me that I would join Mary Kay Cosmetics over his dead body. I thought, okay, there's the invitation, because now you told me I can't, now I'm going to do it. And so I became, at that point in time, the youngest Mary Kay sales director in the history of the company. I was blessed that was the era where I got a congratulations call directly from Mary Kay Ash herself. I sat in her home and had tea with her and was mentored by her. And 5.5 years later, I was setting a pace. And we, this is important. At the time that I joined Mary Kay, very similar to what our economy is like right now, we were in trouble. Our interest rates were 22%. There was wage and price controls. People were turning their keys over on their homes, and things were really difficult times. And that was extra tough because to join Mary Kay at the time, the average person was starting with $2,500 investment and had to go to the bank and get a loan. Now think about what $2,500 was that many years ago. And I had a responsibility if my friends were going to join me in the business and go get a bank loan for $2,500 to start the business. I better make sure that I could show them how to make money, make their bank loan payments, and make it worth their trip. And so it was a real serious business opportunity. And we're going to talk in a few minutes more about how I think things have changed a little bit. But from there, I became really curious. An executive left Mary Kay, went with another company that had been bought out of receivership, an old-time direct selling business called Watkins. I was given the opportunity to come in and help them to rebuild an old company, one of the first in the industry. Spent 8 years with them, ended up as international vice president of sales and marketing by the time I was 29. Moved with my 2 children, just little me hopping along moving to another country. I think back and think how brave I was, or crazy, I don't know. And then ended up after 8 years with them, went to another company out of Kansas City, Missouri, House of Lloyd, Christmas Around the World, Cooking the American Way. And then moved to another company, Color Me Beautiful, out of Washington, D.C., helped them develop, which was really the first ever image consulting business, helped develop a cosmetic line with them, and then Party Light Gifts called. And came back to Canada, 8 years as president, took Party Light Canada to the largest party plan company in Canadian history. For about 20 million when I started, took it to 110. Did some really innovative things through that. And then after 8 years, came back to my hometown of Calgary, went and spent a couple of years with Herbalife as the general manager for Canada. And then came out of that, started my own business, and was promptly diagnosed with breast cancer. So it's been a long journey getting back, and everything shifts and changes to some degree, but the bedrock of what this industry about has never changed. And my love and passion and commitment today is to continue to be part of the team of people that are continually evolving and innovating in this industry, because we have been changing and innovating for, the full 35 plus years that I've been in this business. So excited to watch what you guys are doing. And, I think the basis of everything that we've done all the way through is if you're going to be successful in this industry, you've got to show leadership, because it's all about people and teams and building trust and relationships. And if we're watching what's happening in the world today and watching how disconnected people are and how poorly we communicate with each other and disrespectfully treat each other, there's never been a better time for our industry to step up and bring people back together.
Wow, I couldn't agree
Wow.
more on that, Melanie. And two things, just listening to that, if I was working out while I was listening to your story, it'd be like
Yeah.
I was climbing a mountain. Like there's just like it's exhausting, just like all these things you've done. You've been
Yeah.
doing this for 40 years. You look fabulous, darling. You look like you're
Thank
still
you.
20, like you just started in the industry. But if you think about that, and that's why I set it up saying, like, if I think about the godmother, like you have touched so many lives through so many different companies, but you've been able to go in there and spread a little magic, share your gifts everywhere you went, and made a difference. And so,
Oh,
like, to me, I just say you're only just beginning. Like really, you're only just
oh,
beginning, Melanie. I think this has been your story of touching people's lives and really getting a grip on the gifts that you have to offer. And so I'm so delightful that you've come here to share that with us.
oh,
In
thank
that.
you.
And you did home on leadership, and I think that was always something you gave me good strength in, is to lead by example. And that's always been my big thing. Is even when it was time for me to leave Canada and move to Australia, you once said to me, if you're going to leave on a high. And I made sure I booked my calendar packed full for 3 months. And I think we even promoted out Louise
Yeah.
to RVP before I even did
Yeah.
that. But I meant if I'm going to leave, I'm going to leave with an impact. And that was by your gifted, guided advice, and be able to start all over again in a new country. But it's because I had mentors like you, the godmother, to show us the way, and that we can do it again. And that's why Teisha and I are taking this industry of the gifts that were given to us and being able to share it in this way, and be able to pull all of you that have this experience to be able to keep sharing it and being able to speak and be a voice for us. So you've been a professional network marketer to the industry. I'm so proud of you on that.
Oh,
Teisha,
thank
did
you.
you want to add to that?
Yeah, that was the first time I ever heard Melanie's whole timeline, and I was just thinking like that's crazy. That's crazy to me. It's like it's so inspiring, everything that you've come from and have done, and the changes you've had to make. But it also, I look at that and think like, like for me, if I were to do something like that, I think that's crazy. Like, right? It's so inspiring. That's amazing. And like for Dracy always talked about you too when I first got started in this industry as well. So just learning from the person who learned from you and above, like I have to ask, I was just curious as you were talking, like when you started in Mary Kay was your first one, you said, right? Your upline, was she someone that was supportive to you, that you learned, like that you feel like you kind of followed her footsteps, or did you kind of take a more like independent role when you got started?
If I would have had a great upline in Mary Kay, I probably would still be with Mary Kay today. So I had a terrible upline, but my the upline above her was pretty darn awesome, and her name was Judy Newton. And I'll never forget, I was at the Harbor Castle Hilton. This is how clear it was to me, on my 23rd birthday. And I was so broke, I could hardly afford to pay attention. I was hiding out in somebody else's room because I couldn't afford a hotel room. And they said, just come, just get there. And there's a whole story about how I got there to that first conference. But she, the person above my Mary Kay sales director, had invited us to a reception. And so I went in and I see this Judy Newton, and those are the days, like she's wearing the fur coat. She's covered in diamond rings because Mary Kay was all about giving out diamonds and furs. And I was asked to speak. I was asked to share my story, my testimony. And so I went up and I did it. And she came up to me and she said, "Oh, y'all, girl, that was just so wonderful. I just can't believe how much you remind me of myself when I was your age." And I remember thinking, she thinks I could be like her. And when you talk about planting a seed in somebody, that was the first time that I stopped and thought, I'm like her? Like, I didn't know any women like her. I didn't know anybody like her. But that made me kind of open up my mind a little bit. And I sat through that rest of that conference thinking quite differently about who I was, who the business was, and what was possible.
Wow. And there was two things in there. One is I was influenced at a young age by a Mary Kay consultant that was driving a pink Cadillac in my town. It was my good friend Debbie Smills or sister-in-law. And I just remember these things sell their position. They are of influence. And that's why Teisha and I want to really spread the word that we are selling our position first and foremost. And we are making impacts on lives by paying attention to the young Melanie Haydens of the world and tapping them on the shoulder and telling them the difference that they're making, because those are the seeds that plant into the gardens that we are today. The other thing you said is, which to me is, we all have a mother. And some of us have a great mother, and some of us may not have had the best mother. And I remember you saying to me, and this still lives in my life, and I use this all the time, that's what leadership's about. Whether we have a good leader as an upline or not so good leader as an upline, it doesn't matter. You just decide the kind of upline you want to be or not be based on the upline you had. And it's just like the mom. I decided to be the kind of mom I wanted to be based on whether my mom was a great mom or not so great mom. I just knew however she influenced me, it was allowed me to choose the kind of mother I wanted to be. And just like leadership, it's the same. We're so busy giving recognition, we don't need it ourselves, we like to say. But at the end of the day, when you have someone like this Mary Kay touching out to you and tapping her shoulder on you, Melanie, these are the lives that are changed based on our position and the influence that we do have, for sure.
Yeah, one of my favorite sayings is, two men looked from prison bars. One saw mud, the other saw stars. And we can all come in. And even what I used to say to you, Dracy, in Party Light, I would hold up a candle and say, what do you see? Some people see a chunk of wax. Some people see an opportunity of a lifetime. Some people see an opportunity to light a room. Nobody's wrong. You are going to always get out of life or opportunities, what you choose to believe about what you're a part of. So choose your beliefs wisely.
Absolutely. Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We have some questions for you there.
Sure.
Teisha, you want to ask some questions?
Yes. Yeah. So being in the industry for so long, I just wanted to pick your brain about what you kind of see as the people who will succeed in this industry versus the people who will fail in this industry. Like, what are the big differences that you see in these people?
Yeah, I think that's probably been the great mystery of the industry. And I've spent especially as a young leader trying to figure out, why was I doing great and why wasn't everybody else, And so then becoming the president of a company, how could I help everybody do great? And, there's a real interesting how everybody starts the same. Everybody's compensation plan is the same. Everybody's opportunity is the same. The kid is the same when they start. And yet some people take it and they are making millions of dollars with it. And some people can't figure out how to open the box, like what causes that? And I have always said, leadership, rock star people, they come in all shapes and sizes. I've seen record breakers that are outgoing and enthusiastic and powerful and energetic, and I've seen the most quietest, shy people come up and just blow business away. So I don't think personality has much to do with it. I think the biggest thing is vision, and I think that's what we have to shape time with. And just what I shared about Judy Newton saying, geez, you remind me of me. That was my first vision, is I was like, I could be walking around in diamonds and fur coats and have that lifestyle. Really? Could I be like that? So I think, if you look back and say, why do people join the business? And there's a lot out there right now about, anti-MLMers and direct sellers and stuff saying, the industry is pyramid scheming and stuff. And I'm just kind of like, oh boy, talk about missing a big chunk of the story. The thing is most people join the business to get the products at a discount. They don't join the business to do the business. And, sometimes there's people that come in and they're looking for a business opportunity. And I think it's up to the leader to figure out what people need or want and help them understand how this business is going to help them fix that need or get them what they want. And the more you can help create that vision for them, then they're going to move. The next thing is the worth it. And you've always got to answer the, is it worth it? And I've always said to people, your brain has like a scale in it. On one side, what am I going to get? And you tip that scale, man, this is going to be awesome. And then you go to the other side. So what do I have to do to get it? And when it seems like too much, it's not worth it. And so either we're not helping people tip that little scale in their brain to make them say, this is going to be worth it. And if it's going to be worth it, I'm going to work hard for it and be excited about it. If they don't think it's going to be worth it, if they don't think it's going to fix a need or a want, you can't move them. And so it's really got to be about what Dracy said earlier, is developing the relationships with people, getting to know them. And the number one big one is trust. And as Dracy said, sometimes, and it was tough, as the president, I had to have conversations that were the president speaking. And I've even said to Dracy, this is Melanie speaking. This is not the president speaking, sometimes. But, I think if they trust you, that you're going to do what's right, not always what's popular, you can continue to have them hang on to the rope and continue to get through, even when it doesn't seem like it's happening or it's difficult stuff that they have to get through. So again, it's just going to be about really helping people get what they need or want and helping them feel like it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, I agree with that so much. Like, I remember even like reading, no, I don't know, when you first start, and of course you're going to see all that and you're going to kind of engage in it. So then the more you engage in it, the more you see it. And I've learned to just focus on the things that I can control in the end. So I don't really see any of that come up, but I always have team members say to me, like, how do you deal with the negativity and how do you deal with that? But, and I always say, you see that maybe stats like this percentage of people who, start a network marketing business fail. But at the end of the day, what's measuring success in all of those statistics? Because like you said, most people get started because they fall in love with a product. They want a discount. That's exactly why I started. And now somehow I'm doing it full time and I made a career out of it. Right. And I feel like that's how most successful people, most people who make it to the top start, but none of those things measure what people's success is. And so that's why I always like to figure out too, when people get started, like what are you wanting out of this? What is your idea of success? When are you going to look at your business and say, I've made it, like, this is what I want out of my business. And usually success, your idea of success changes as you go and as you gain more confidence in yourself. But I love everything you said about that.
But I think, and they talk about 98% of people don't make any money in direct selling. Well, 98% of people don't join direct selling to make money. They join to get the products at a discount. Like, okay, let's get to the truth. Let's get to the truth of what is behind people doing this. We know that the two biggest factors why people join, there's studies about this. Dr. Derek Hassey, professor of marketing at Lakehead University, has done extensive research on this industry, which unfortunately is one of the few people that have to really understand it. Is that two things. Number one reason people want to join this business is usually to get the products at a discount. Number two is they want to belong to something. And we know that the number one factor in people joining outside of those two things are they want to be associated with you, the leader. They like how they feel when they're with you. They're looking for some light and some fun and some energy in their life. And how many people, I remember doing Mary Kay meetings, and I would have great turnouts, 50, 60 people every Monday night coming over and over, and they would leave and they'd be like, yay, we're having that Mary Kay enthusiasm. It's the best time ever. And they would leave and they wouldn't sell a darn thing. And they'd come back the next weekend and they're just excited and happy again. And I thought, am I entertainment? What am I for these people? And you know what I am? I'm association for them. And they got my love and they got my respect. And I appreciated them being part of the team, whether they sold something or not. And because people became first. You put people first and you're never going to go wrong. And boy, they brought in some awesome people. There's things unfold in different ways. People come in your life and on your path in different ways. And sometimes it's just all about having fun. I think sometimes, when we're talking about the FTC or we're talking about the Competition Bureau in Canada, are they making money? Are they making money? Well, they're not all in it to make money. They're in it to have fun. Mm-hmm. They're not out there doing the business in the same way the people that are making money. The point is, if you want to truly do the business, which is different than belonging to the company or being a part of the company, it's different. If you want to really do the business, you've got to have the recipe, and I think that's one of the big things that's changed in this industry is we used to talk about the cookie cutter, here's the steps, 1, 2, 3, do exactly as I say. Here's the scripts, do exactly as I do it exactly the way I do. And I don't think today people want the cookie cutter, but they want the cookie recipe. So I'm going to give you an oatmeal cookie recipe. And then there's lots of room for you to put chocolate chips in it, or raisins, or cinnamon, or spice it up, or do what you want with it and make it yours and make it your brand and make it different. And that's what I'm so proud of you two on, is that you're really showing people, here's the fundamentals, but here's how you can be your brand and you can truly grow a personal business.
Well, you're absolutely spot on. And in our case, well, we're just throwing in a few extra nuts along the way.
You got to have nuts and raisins in my oatmeal cookies, let me tell you.
But I do have to capture something here, what our audience doesn't know. And I want to highlight exactly 5 years ago, believe it it's to the date, like the end of August. 5 years ago, my mom fell really ill, and I had just finished a year contract after leaving Party Light, and I had a corporate position. 5 years ago, my mom fell ill, near death, and I had to hop on an airplane. And it was when you were working for Sipology and you were looking for some support and some help, like for 90 days. And it was like a gift, from the universe. And I reached out to you saying, looks like I'm going to have to stay here in Canada and help my mom and be by her side. Is there a position? Are you still looking for someone? And that's where I came in and did that 90 days, whatever was in the field of Sipology. And in those 90 days, I had Teisha come to one of my presentations. Yeah. And that is when Teisha got started. It'll be 5 years coming in December. And then now look at us now. We've all gone in different directions. But yet we've all come together, and that is because of the number one thing we all did. We created a relationship, and we stayed and paid attention, and we invested in each other just on how we're doing, checking in. Yeah. And that's where we are today, 5 years ago. Look at that full circle.
And you know what's really amazing is I'm really blessed. In fact, I've just hired a financial planner. She's a university professor at the University of Alberta. So she's not selling insurance or anything. She's just a financial planner. So now I'm at a place in my life of retirement. I've made all this money, and I haven't just made it in this industry. I took my money and I invested in other things and stuff. But when I had my first consultation with her, I said, now what do I do? What do I do with this money now? And we're setting up a plan that I can actually live out the rest of my life off of the interest on the money I have made. I graduated from Forest Lawn Senior High School, Calgary, Alberta, Canada, with a high school diploma. As I had people tell me, threw my life away getting married at 18 and raised 2 kids. Look where I am today, and what could change that? And I'm grateful. However, when I get to think back over what are the things that I'm so grateful for and that bring me the most comfort and pride, it's the Dracy Dewars. To think that here was this single mom, and Drace, you were fighting for it at that time. You had hopes and dreams, but who was going to give you a chance and believe in you to do it? And to watch you, like Dracy broke every record that there had been in that company. She went from brand new to the top of the pile within a year, was making 6-figure income. So like she made it happen. And I have to say, one of the things is Dracy came in, she had a vision, exactly what she needed. And she just was going to go to work, and she just absorbed every training, every coaching, everything that she could get, and didn't ask a lot of questions. She just trusted the system, trusted the process, and went with it. And, and I've always said, I want to be the first link in a positive chain reaction that nurtures the human spirit around the world. That's my mantra. And now to watch Dracy do it with Teisha, and to watch the difference that you're making, Teisha, I mean, this is my biggest success, not the money in my bank account.
Well, that is a goosebump experience, Melanie. And you were that chink in the chain that caused this reaction. And I absolutely have goosebumps in that for sure.
Thank you. Well, there's many more of us out there, and I'm excited to have you guys have them join you and share, because there's just amazing stories. And I think that's one of the things I would say, when I talked about one of the biggest reasons people are going to join you in your business is because of they're relating to you, being relatable. And I don't think we spend enough time working on our stories. Mary Kay used to talk to us and say, you have to be able to tell your story in an inspiring way. Where did you come from? Why did you join the business, and where are you going? and share that story in under 2 minutes. And it was called an I story. And we practiced, drilled, and rehearsed that over and over. And that, that story becomes so important because that's what makes you relatable. And when people hear your story and go, oh, that's what you needed, that's what you wanted, that's why you wanted it, and it was worth it to you, I need the same things, and I can relate to you now, and I'm going to come in. Now I trust you, I believe you, I relate to you. I'm going to be what Dracy was, which is an unquestionable, coachable person that's going to follow the steps.
And this is where now social media has come in and has shifted and changed the way we share that story. And I've been able to watch, and so have you, Teisha, now be able to deliver her story online, social media, like the way in your photography, in the message. Like I would read every post she would said, and what she would actually capture in there. And what Teisha was doing is you were sharing your story, how you overcame yourself and your confidence and the journey and where you're going and how you're going to get there. Yeah. So if anybody was to watch how you delivered that through your social media, is why people are now being attracted to people who are willing to be brave online and share their story in that sense. So. Yeah. It's just the evolution. And this is where we're at now, is this young generation of what is it that we've done and what are the things that are changing and how we're going to, make that difference, because the industry is changing. But like you said, this is the best time, the best place, and the best people right now is the industry now. And I think it's ready to explode because of the Teishas of the world.
I think it's easier than it's ever been. You have getting people to see you, be connected is easier than it's ever been. Being accountable and responsible for your actions and how you show up.
Yeah.
Being intentional. That's what you really want people to focus on with it. So, it's always been the same thing. I need to hear you, but then I need to validate what you said to me by what I see you do. And so I've always come back to that. Let people see you walking the talk, doing what you expect them to do, validating for them that what you say you do is what you really do. And once they see you, they trust you, they will follow you.
Yeah. I love that. And I was actually going to ask, and maybe you answered it a little bit here, but I was going to ask you, out of like everything, there's so many amazing takeaways just from this episode here. But if you could give one piece of advice to new business builders today who are considering getting started in this industry, what would that one piece of advice be?
One piece of advice. I think
you could do a couple if you want.
Yeah, I think if you're looking to really make this a business, you need to make sure that you do your homework, whether it's not just the product, it's the company, it's the leadership team that you're a part of. If you were to go out and buy a franchise tomorrow, you would really do your homework on all the different franchises out there. And then you would find the one that gives you the butterflies and excites you the most. I think that making a decision in this has got to be, 50% head, 50% heart, because you really have to have that mind. You're going to be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are hearty people. Everything comes from the heart. And so I think really finding a product that you just love so much, you can't not talk about it. Finding a company that you are so proud to be a part of and to be associated with, that you can so easily sell it as far as people being a part of it, and that you can trust it and you can count on what they're going to do and that you're going to be treated well. It's easy to bring people into something that you can feel that good about. And I think the last part is making sure that whatever team you're going to join, is that you've got a leader that you want to be like. You're going to find a leader. And, sometimes it's not the person that sponsors you or even your leader. Sometimes you want to, and I've had people come to meetings and be a part of, calls that we're doing and stuff to feel it out, and creating leadership teams to know that you've got a system that you can step into that recognizes where you're at as step one, and has a plan for you where you're going to be in 90 days. That first 90 days is everything.
90 days.
90 days.
90 days.
Yeah.
Reset, repeat, 90
Yeah.
days. Well, so I guess then if we're talking about that, tell us, you got to be one of our book reviewers and being an advanced reader, and thank you very much for the review.
Yeah.
And we're excited because it's any day now. We're going to be able to launch it to the world. What would be your review for us, the things that you got out of the book that you think was of value?
I think the thing that I loved most about it, the content was great. But as I said in my review, I kept thinking, I think this is a coaching system. I think you could buy a bunch of these books up, start a 90-day leadership team. So this is people who want to advance in your company, advance into leadership, and use that book as the workbook and go through it chapter by chapter, week after week, and not only study it, talk about it, but then give yourself goals on how you're going to apply it. And, I think the world's got so much knowledge coming at you, and it isn't how much you have been able to take in as knowledge. It's how much knowledge have you been able to activate. So, excuse me, I would just say to anybody that's in this industry that it is just full of tons of wisdom. I think there's a lot of room for almost like a book study, group discussions with it. There's years of work and development that you have done with it. I think the big things that I would be tying in with that is, again, coming back to what I said, was just really helping people. Why do you want to do this? Why is this going to be important to you?
I just really want to say that you have liberated all of us to shine. And I remember when you went on stage at one of our conferences as the godmother with your magic wand, and you stood there and you said to us one of my favorite quotes, and I'm going to share this with you.
Yeah.
From Marianne Williamson. And why I'm sharing that is only 2 weeks ago, I spent the night with Marianne Williamson, and it was so inspiring. And it actually made me think of you when you were on stage and you read that to us. And it's the quote where she says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And it is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God, and your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightening about shrinking for other people to feel insecure around you. We are born to manifest the glory of God, and that within us, it's not just in some of us, it's in every one of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others, the people, permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others." And so you are that one that liberates others, Melanie.
Dracy, thank you. Thank you, dear. I remember that.
I remember that too. And that's why it's so important what we are doing, that it does make an impact on people's lives. And when we come together intentionally like we are, this is the difference that we make.
Look, I'm just going to say to you guys, because I know, Dracy, this is who you are. Teisha, I could just love watching you. You were just a ray of sunshine. And, I remember having my briefcase at a Mary Kay meeting and looking in the other women's briefcases because I didn't know what to put in them, because I didn't know any business women. I didn't know any woman who carried a briefcase. And I remember thinking, I want to make sure that I become the woman I want my daughter to be. I want my daughter to have better opportunities. I want my daughter to, be brave enough to let her light shine. I want to be my daughter's hero. And so to live my life in a way that I wanted her to be. So when things got tough, I would ask myself, what would I want my daughter to do? What would I want my daughter to be? And that gave me the right thing. But I can say this, that if you are in this business, this is so much more than how much money you're going to make. Leadership is something that is going to transcend this industry. It's going to determine what kind of leader you are in your home, in your community, how you self-lead yourself. And I know this, that great leaders in this industry make sure that everyone they meet is left better than how they found them. And that's always been my goal. I don't care if you came into my direct selling business, joined my team, whatever, for a day, a month, a year, or a lifetime. I would always hope that you'd look back on it and say it was something that made me better at life. Because I think we don't invest enough time in communication, and we don't invest enough time in communication and people skills and how we engage with each other. And that's going to take you far, whether it is going all the way in this direct selling business or industry, or just in life in general. And I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity that I got to be the mom I wanted to be the person I wanted to be. It transcended anything I could have ever dreamed or hoped for. And I'm very grateful that it's blessed me with women like you in my life. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Like, everything you said has just been so inspiring to hear. And people's stories and how sharing just your story, your unique story, can just, just a piece of it could stand out to someone and give someone just that glimpse of hope that they could do it too. So we appreciate you so much for coming on and taking the time to be with us today, and just sharing everything you have. I'm sure our audience is going to get so much out of this. So just thank you so much. It was so nice chatting with you guys and hearing your story.
It's been a treat. Thank you. I'm honored.
Thank you, Melanie.
Melanie, thank you so much for spending time with us and giving us all of those amazing takeaways. I'm so excited to hear what our audience took away from you in the comments of our video. And I think the one thing that stood out to Dracy and I was how you really focused in on vision being one of the most important things that you can have when you start a network marketing business, and kind of differentiates those people who succeed in the industry and the people who fail in the industry, is finding out what those new members on your team need, what success means to them, and then giving them and painting that picture for them of what that's going to take. What is their idea of success going to take? What kind of work do they got to put into it? And then weighing that out to them and making them think about, like, is this worth it to me? And we really appreciated that whole explanation, and just talking about the relationship building, how important it is, always coming from that point of service first and foremost, and always leaving people feeling better than they did when they first came in, and just maintaining all, those relationships that you are going to make in your business. So thank you so much again for coming on.
Wow, I just wanted to say again, just before we let you all go, I know I talked about her being the godmother, and I was just really giving some thought on that. And I just want to say, really what a godparent is somebody who's actually is chosen to be responsible for the spiritual well-being of that human. And as us as uplines and her being a godmother to all of us, that she has always looked after our spiritual well-being in a way of being our personal best. And when you actually think about the godmother in Cinderella, if you actually think about that, she helped turn Cinderella's life around. And she did it in a way that improved her situation by taking action. And so I just want to honor Melanie being the godmother of us women in this industry today, and say a special thanks as well. It was a great episode.
Absolutely. So let's wrap up this episode. If you guys haven't already, make sure you give this video a like, comment below your biggest takeaways from this episode and what Melanie has helped you guys with throughout this episode. And make sure you guys subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And of course, share with your teams if you feel this would be of any value to them. And last but not least, make sure there's still time to get on our wait list. So just visit www.theunwrappedleader.com, get on the pre-order wait list, and you'll be the first to find out as soon as we launch our book. We are this close if you're listening on podcasts. My fingers are almost touching. It's so close to launching, guys. So thank you guys for sticking with us, and we look forward to giving you guys a new episode next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.